Hey guys, yesterday NASA landed another rover on Mars, and I was looking at some of the videos about this, and I found this video that was posted 6 days ago on the NASA JPL YouTube channel about the entry, descent, and landing sequence of the Mars Perseverance rover. And in this short video, 4-minute video, they talked to 5 different engineers. Now, 3 of these engineers are women, and 3 of them are non-white. Not one of them is a white male. And I find this highly improbable, considering the likely composition of the Mars Perseverance mission team, which I'd wager is majority white male, at least 50% white male. If that is the composition of the team, then the odds of not picking a white male to interview 5 times in a row is less than 3%. And so there's a 97% probability at least that the casting of this video in particular was motivated by a deliberate and calculated desire to marginalize and deny and obscure the contributions of white male members of the team to the Mars Perseverance rover mission. And while a single isolated instance like this doesn't prove anything with certainty, we can increase our certainty by looking at other examples. So, for example, NASA does proclaim publicly its ambition to land a woman on the moon by 2024 for no other reason than to specifically land a woman on the moon, which is an announcement a priori that they intend to deprive a qualified male candidate of that potential position on a moon mission. And that's indicative of ideological possession. I also went to the NASA webpage and I looked up the page for the team, the Mars Perseverance rover team, and they have a little scroll bar that you can scroll through called Meet the Martians, where they highlight 12 members of the team in particular. Now they have a big group photo, which I'm not going to count them and do a demographic analysis of the team, but the 12 that they put in the little highlight reel, only one was a white male. And again, if we're assuming that 50% of the team is white male, so there's a 50% probability that each of those people in that little highlight reel would be a white male. There's 4,096 possible combinations of white males and non-white males in a 12-person highlight reel. 13 of those combinations have one white male or fewer. There's the one where the first one is white male, there's the one where the second one is white male, etc., all the way on to the 12th, and then there's the one where none of them are white males. So we'll include that one because that is a statistical possibility. Now, if all of these possible configurations are equally likely, as they would be in the case that 50% of the team are white male, then the odds of having one white male or fewer in that little lineup are about 0.3%. So the odds are 99.7% that the selection of that little lineup, that little highlight reel, Meet the Martians, and I'll put the link below, is motivated by anti-white racism and anti-male sexism. So, the more data points you add to this, just the more slam dunk, 100% certain it becomes that NASA in general and JPL in particular, which is located somewhere in California, are in the grips of an ideological possession by anti-white and anti-male ideologies that causes them to seek to marginalize and silence and deny and obscure and minimize the contributions of white male members to their team, and especially in promotional materials designed to present their activities and works to the public. White males are not represented at all, almost. So, what does all this mean? Well, any organization in the grips of hostile and malicious anti-white, anti-male ideologies like these needs to be defunded, dismantled, disbanded, basically utterly destroyed. Now, we're going to do it in a legal, peaceful, orderly way, not like, let's say, Antifa would do it in a violent, unlawful, haphazard way. We're going to do it in an orderly, peaceful, lawful way, and where necessary, we're going to create alternative institutions first to minimize the disruption and the chaos caused by this. But fundamentally, any institution in the grips of these kind of ideologies, it just needs to go. Like, there's no coming back. We don't want them reformed. We don't want them rehabilitated. We don't want them repaired. We want them gone. Like, we want an example made of these kind of institutions, these kind of organizations. Once you mark yourself as an implacable ideological enemy of, a good chunk of America's people, and that's the only conclusion you can come to here, right, in cases like this, then, we just need to make an example of these people. And I think defunding and dismantling and disbanding NASA would be, an excellent way of doing that, and nothing of value really would be lost. I'm saying that as a huge space nerd. I've been obsessed with this space stuff all my life, right? But what does NASA really do? What do they really accomplish that's interesting and new and groundbreaking and pathfinding? And I mean, they do these Mars missions and stuff, which are cool, right? But almost nothing else they do is anywhere close to being worth the money. And they've just been stuck in low Earth orbit, going around in circles for decades, accomplishing not a whole lot. So, defund NASA, get rid of NASA. There would be no chaos that would result from that. Private entities could step right into the breach and do more and do better. And, nothing of value would be lost. So that's a no-brainer. That just needs to happen right away. But in other cases where there are organizations or institutions or companies or whatever the case may be that are more vital, more necessary, fulfill a more critical role, then we need to build alternatives first to minimize the disruption and the chaos that results. But nevertheless, they still need to be eliminated. They still need to be disbanded, defunded, and broken up and cease to exist as an organization or as an entity. And a lot of the people in them, at least, if not all, the stain of having worked for that organization needs to follow them around. For being complicit in that kind of ideological possession, anti-white, anti-male, anti-Western, anti-civilization ideological possession by, these hostile, malicious, parasitic ideologies. And, okay, so why do I say that half of the mission team in this NASA case are probably white? Well, mainly just to make the math simple, all right, because that makes it statistically like a coin toss. That makes the math really simple. But I think that's a pretty realistic number because 30% of the population are white males still, Whites are still 60% of the population. 30% of the population are still white males. So it's got to be at least 30%, or it's not proportional at all, right? If it's less than 30%, then NASA and JPL are obviously discriminatory and prejudiced against white males in their hiring practices, right? But really, we would expect it to be a lot higher than 30%, because, we know a lot of other demographics besides white males underperform in most of the subjects relevant to designing an interplanetary mission, right? So we would expect the share of white males in those kind of teams doing those kind of things to be way above 30% and probably even above 50%. But 50% is a good starting point just for like back of the envelope type probability calculations, because it makes the math really easy. Okay. So I think my assumptions in this video are reasonable. My conclusions are reasonable. And, there's only one conclusion ultimately that I think you can come to, which is that NASA is an implacable enemy of white males and therefore needs to be disbanded as immediately as possible. Defunded, disbanded. It needs to cease to exist. It's sad because NASA does have a glorious legacy, the legacy of Wernher von Braun and all that, but, that's the state of it today, and nothing of value would be lost if we broke it up and it just ceased to exist overnight. And we don't need to stop there. We need to go on to do the same for every organization, every institution that is in the possession of these kind of hostile, malicious, anti-white, anti-male ideologies. But fundamentally, the message needs to be said that this kind of fuckery, like with this video and this web page, which the links are below, I encourage you to check them out, and leave comments and contact NASA and let them know what you think about all this stuff. This kind of stuff will not escape notice. This kind of stuff will not escape comment. This kind of stuff will not stand any longer. White men need to stand up for themselves and notice when people are disrespecting them, when people are marginalizing their fellow white males that are on these teams, if their contributions are not being recognized and are being redistributed to the less deserving, and their very existence is being obscured and minimized and denied, white males need to speak up. Like, we notice and we don't like it. So I sent off a bunch of emails to NASA people and left some comments on the video, and I encourage you to do the same. And we need to do more and get this organization totally shut down. But anyway, nice talking to you guys. I will see you soon.